we're painting a fern, this is a great exercise to develop your brush control. It can be a really quick exercise, or you can take hours and hours depending on the level of detail you'd like to put in. I'm going to demonstrate one type of fern. You can paint an entire bouquet of ferns or arrange them like a scientific illustration, having each fern laid out like this if you'd like. Google different types of ferns. There's so many different varieties with different leaf shapes. We'll be doing a simple bracken fern today. Things that we want to pay attention to when we're painting is the point at which the leaf comes off the stem. Is it coming off the stem at the same point, or is it alternating? And the overall shape of the fern, which will be similar to a feather. So for this particular fern, we're going to start by drawing the stem. Again, draw light. This will be a little bit darker so that you can see. And then we're going to draw the outside shape of the fern, which is a soft triangle shape. Something like that. We could draw in all the individual leaves that come off this main stem, but instead we're going to use our brushes to make those shapes. And this is where the brushwork practice comes in. So that's the drawing component done. You can see I've only got 4 colours here. The idea is we'll make some interesting colours with what we've got. We're not using just green. I've got black, light blue, this olive green, and an ochre colour. I think it's one way to spice up your paintings is to use colours that are a bit uncommon, a little unnatural. So a black fern, for instance, is already a little bit more interesting. And we'll see what interesting colours we can make by mixing these paints together. As always, just starting off by waking up our colours. And swatching them out so that we have a guide for when we're painting. So I've got the main colours swatched out, and I'm going to do the next level and combine these colours to see what we can make. So do the same and I'll meet you back here in about 5 minutes. So I've swatched the main colours together in pairs. So we've got the black with the blue, the black with the green, the black with the ochre, and blue with green, blue with ochre, etc. And we've got these lovely colour options down here now. And now I'm going to try and mix some colours in groups of 3. And that will bring even more subtle colours to our mix, and then we'll be ready to paint. So I'll be mixing the blue, black and green together, black, green, ochre, ochre, green, blue. See you back here in a few minutes. Okay, so we have our colours swatched out. What I'm noticing is when we went to mix 3 colours together, this has given us a really natural palette of greens. So even though we started with 4 colours that don't particularly look like the colours you'd paint a fern with, we've ended up with 3 colours that I think really do look like natural plant colours. You can choose from these whichever colours you'd like. We're going to put down 1 colour for the leaf and then drop other colours in. Use a medium brush. This is it's not the smallest brush, but it's not the largest one either. It should be large enough that when you press the brush flat like that, the width that the brush makes is the width of the leaf shape that you want. So if you want a leaf that is, I'll just show you with 1 leaf. I'll pick this green with a little bit of black. So I'm pressing lightly and then pressing hard, dragging it and pressing, lifting the brush up to press lightly again. When I pressed hard, it made the width of this frond, and I'm quite happy with that, proportional to the stem. So choose your brush based on the size of the mark that it makes. Now that this is still wet, I can drop another little colour into it. So I'm grabbing a bit of the ochre. I'm just going to put a couple of little dots like that. So this is going to be a wet on wet technique for the whole leaf. Each frond we'll paint and then we'll drop some colours into it. Notice when you look at the photos of ferns, often ferns have slight discolorations on the leaf. It might be a little bit darker. I'll use this green and black mixture again for the next leaf. Pressing hard and lifting, light, heavy, light. And then dropping a little bit of blue near the stem. You might notice that some ferns have dark spots near the stem or light spots, some sun discoloration. Just notice, try and look closely, see what you notice. You can also invent new patterns for your ferns. So this one, I've obviously started with a green base. I'll match it on the other side, but I can change my colors as I go up. I could create a gradient where the leaves gradually get darker and darker and darker. I could alternate different colors, so start bringing in, if I want to keep it natural, I can make my base leaves these colors, or I could bring in really unusual colors for the bases and see what happens. Again, just keep in mind the purpose of this painting is to improve your brush control. So what we want to see is even marks the whole way up that are symmetrical and have that characteristic shape of pressing lightly, then pressing hard, then light again. So you get that tapered shape. So I'll go into a time lapse now, so you'll be able to see me move through this pretty quickly, and then it's over to you to try it yourself. And just finishing it with this small leaf right at the top. A couple of my leaves blended together at the end there, which is pretty common when everything gets a little bit closer together. So just finishing this off now with a couple of little drops of blue at the center of each, where the leaf connects to the stem. And you can see that there's a lot of variety across the fronds. From a distance, it is looking mostly green. The colors tend to blend together at a distance. Even if you're painting with blue, they'll blend together and they'll make these kind of colors that we mixed. Even if we painted primarily with the three colors like this, from a distance, if we mix them all together on each leaf, it's going to read a little bit more like this. Obviously this is not what a fern looks like, but you can see that by using the blue and the a little bit of contrast with these dark browns and these dark blues in here. It's just a little bit more interesting. To finish it off, again, this is where the brush control comes in. You can decide whether you want to paint the stem, which requires your smallest brush and you levering from your elbow or from your wrist to get that smooth line. I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't drag my arm through it while I'm trying to do that. You can also use a pen once it's dried, but again, this is all about practice, so it's okay to get it wrong. We just improve, and this is how we improve, is by trying to paint very precise lines like this. For the colour, I actually really like how the blue has come out. It's an unusual colour choice. So I'm going to paint a blue stem. So grabbing a little bit of my blue on my small brush, I'll just show you how I'm getting that blue together. It's got a little bit of black in it just to bring it down a touch, and just pushing my brush into that puddle to soak up all that liquid. And then I'm going to rotate the paper so that it's more comfortable for me to paint. Remember, just press lightly, in the same way that we did the ends of the leaves here, pressing very lightly to get that fine point. The lighter you press, the smaller the width of the line. So I'm going to start here, and similar to throwing a ball, I guess you want to focus on the end point, so focus on the follow through. I know that these leaves are still drying, so I know the colour as I paint it is going to push into these leaves. I'm fine with that. Again, I really like this loose style. If you'd like it to be more precise, wait for it to dry before you do this. So you can see I'm just levering from my elbow. The rest of my arm is staying perfectly still. And there you have it. So you can replicate this across an entire page if you'd like. You could make a bouquet of these. It looks a little bit like a feather, so if you're inspired by this, you could try painting some feathers in this way. I'd really encourage you to try painting ferns in all kinds of colours, so moving well away from the greens and see what happens. But yeah, this is an excellent brush control exercise that you can do again and again and again and still produce a beautiful artwork.